Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the RoadMap podcast. I'm super excited for our guest today. We've got Glenn Walton all the way from the South Bend, Indiana area. He's been with us for a while, and he's starting to make a really big name for himself, so I'm excited to dive into his story. This is his first time on any podcast, he's saying, so I'm excited to dive into his story and get to know him and share his story with y'all. Hope you're ready to learn a lot. Glenn, how's it going today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on, man.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited.
Absolutely, man. I always love these lock-ins that we do and getting around the fire. I'm excited for your training later today, what you have to share with everyone. I'm excited to dive into your story, too, because you've had quite the journey with us. You've been here long enough to really see some ups and downs.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to dive into that a little bit here. If you could start off, just give people kind of your background, you know, how old are you, where you coming from, and then we'll kind of dive into how you got into this.
Yeah. I'm 37, wife with 3 beautiful kids. Tried college. College wasn't for me, so I went into sales.
How long did it take you to figure out college wasn't for you?
About 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Okay. So you were in. You were into it.
Yeah.
You had some money. You had some time invested.
Yeah.
What was the thought that made you think,
I was too distracted.
Okay.
I was too much having fun, and I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So because I didn't have a career, and they tell you that you're supposed to have a career right out of college and figure it out, I didn't have that. So instead of me wasting my grant money that I had out of my partial scholarship, I just ended up walking away from college.
Okay. And then where'd you walk away to?
So after I walked away from college, I got into the RV industry.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that's big in the north central Indiana.
Yeah.
You're in RVs in some way, shape, or form up there. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was there
Okay.
for 4 or 5 years. And then I ventured off and saw an ad that you could do well for yourself in the automotive industry. And so in 2013, I went into the automotive industry.
Love it. Okay. So you're in there for about 10 years, about a decade.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Got into it looking to have a career, make some good money. You mentioned you're married, 3 kids. Do you have any kids or married at the time, or were you single, kind of getting into all that?
I had my son was 1.
Okay.
And I knew that I didn't want him to have to endure what I did growing up. So I wanted a better life for him as well as for my family. So I dove headfirst into the automotive industry.
Love it. That's a powerful motivation.
Yeah,
To give your kids more than we had, give them that leg up in life. That's huge. I love that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
absolutely.
Okay, so you went headfirst into the car industry, and you were there for a decade. And from what I've heard, obviously I didn't know you at the time, but from what I've heard, you did okay for yourself, needless to say.
Yeah.
One of the top reps in the state, and sold a few cars in your time.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's fast forward through those 10 years,
Okay.
just for sake of time, and let's talk about where you were at in the industry when you heard about this. So you were doing well, you're making decent money, you were happy. What did that look like? Describe your situation when you heard about us.
Yeah, so fast forward. At that time, we had just had our 3rd kid, daughter, and I was doing exceptionally well, but I was bored.
You had conquered the challenge, you had climbed the hill, and you were at the top.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was very bored.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you get stagnant, it's perishable.
Okay.
So I went, my buddy Greg, he went to convention in Miami in February, and he came back on fire and talking really, really good about Family First Life and how this is going to be a game changer for everyone. And, I told him, I said, that sounds all good, but you need to show me the money.
Yeah.
And,
Classic. Where's Jerry when we need him?
Right. I'm doing really good for myself right now. So like, I'm here, I can hear, but show me the money. And fast forwarded, he officially went in March, and him and Andrew teamed up, and they started right away recruiting and started writing policies. And he would throw little bugs, little text message, little reels. Hey, we're doing.
So he was
this,
dripping
we're
on
doing
you.
that. Yeah.
And how did you feel about those drips?
Man.
Annoyed?
No, I really wasn't annoyed. It piqued my interest way more.
So curious.
Yes, I was curious because I'm like, it's Saturday and he's at his daughter's baseball game or softball game, and I'm at work still. Yeah, I'm at the dealership still working. And so eventually, when we had our daughter, I got fed up. I sat with them for a week just to shadow them.
Okay.
And I just seen how it operated, and I enrolled in the course.
Okay. So would you say you were skeptical about the business or the industry? Or was it more so like the timing, you were struggling to see how can you get into it or do it with all your responsibilities and you were making good money? What was the hardest part of that transition or seeing that transition for you?
It was all of the above,
Okay.
Matt, because I am the breadwinner of the household,
Right.
so everything relies on me, on my shoulders.
Yeah.
As well as the timing of just having a 1-week-old baby and my wife is on leave.
Yeah.
That is something that I had to take into consideration. And but it got to a boiling point. I prayed about it, and I talked to my wife and sat down once I was frustrated and said, "Hey, I'm going to quit, and we're going to make this move." And she stood behind me.
It's amazing. That kind of loyalty and trust and respect is hard to find.
Yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, your wife's an incredible lady. I love getting to know you guys, and that's really awesome what you guys have. So she trusted you. How did you overcome the skepticism of what we do? Because I had the same. I think most people do. Too good to be true. All those different cliches kind of come into play to describe how people feel when they look at this. How'd you overcome that?
So I was skeptic for a very long time. Even going into it, getting my license and stuff, like, there's no way people are helping this many families. There's no way that this is happening. And I just indulged myself in the whole thing. I just submerged my head and got out of my own way mentally. And I said, okay, if you're doing this, you're going to commit to it all the way.
Okay. So that sounds like a lot of humility is what that sounds like, right? Because pride says, I know what's best, I know what's real, I know what's not.
Right.
And then basically you had to humble yourself and say, well, maybe there's something else out there that I'm not aware of. And they've found it. And you checked it out.
Yes.
Did your homework, did your due diligence.
Yes.
They were open and transparent with you, which is kind of crazy to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Would you agree, like, how transparent we are? It's like, okay, you have every right to be skeptical. Show me the money.
Yeah.
Here's the money. Here's what we do to make it. Now you come do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then you were so successful in the car industry, you obviously hit the ground running here without a single hiccup, right? I got jokes
Funny.
today.
Yes, you did. No, I fell on my face, and
Why?
I felt like I was getting dragged in the mud for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah. Why do you think that was?
It was a different format. In sales, for automotive sales, you're face to face like we are now. So, I can be very good at looking at, making eye contact and gestures and those things, and being able to capture my clients face to face. But over the phone, it's completely different. You have no idea what they're thinking or how they feel at the time. So I had to really learn and throw away mostly what I knew about the car business in person to actually learn how to capture my client's attention over the phone and make sure I hold that attention with them.
That's huge.
So that was the biggest thing, and it took me a month and a half, almost 2 months to figure it out.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Walk us through where your mindset was at during that month and a half, 2 months. I remember, but the people out there don't know.
Yeah.
What were some of the feelings, the emotions? Was your face starting to shake? Yourself and the business and your mentors? Walk us through some of that.
Yeah. So obviously, I called you, Matt. But when I was going through that stretch period, I call it a stretch period. I definitely questioned my ability to see if I can even do this.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are tougher than I am. No, it wasn't that. It was me going away from the negative thought process of I can't do it, or the victim mentality of I can't, to I'm going to. So once I switched that I can't mindset to I'm going to, then things are starting to click for me.
Where did the victim mindset come from? Because you didn't have it in the car business, or do you think you did and you just were able to mask it?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely did.
Huh.
I did. If things didn't go the way I wanted, well, this person this and this person this, or this is this, or this person is affecting me this way. And then it boils down to, no, you're allowing that to be bigger than what it is. It's really small and minute. So you have to move past it.
What I'm hearing, and this is something I've really been working on and thinking about a lot, especially recently for myself, and as I try to help others best I can, is where the victim mindset comes from, how to overcome it, right? So I think it's interesting because you can only get so far with the victim mindset, right? And it almost sounds like you were as far as one could possibly go with that mindset in life, in a career. And so when you went to jump into this to try to level up, you immediately hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then you had to choose, okay, what do I do about that?
Right.
Do I continue blaming everything else, the leads, the clients, the mentors, the system, this, that, and the other? Or do I turn it inward? And you were immediately forced to do that. Yeah. Whereas a lot of other people, maybe they haven't reached the top of what you can reach with the victim mindset. And so they were kind of forced to figure out this business for a while and then come into, I feel like that's what it was for me. I had the victim mindset before I came in.
Right.
I brought it in with me, and I kept it for a while. And then I realized, this isn't going to get me where I need to go. Right. I need to start blaming myself for everything. And that's what I love, that extreme ownership mentality. Helps you kick that.
Yes.
So you implemented it.
Yes.
A month and a half, 2 months in.
Yep.
What were your emotions at the time? I'm sure you'll never forget. What were your emotions at the time when you felt that shift? When you kicked that mindset and you felt that shift? Was it an immediate shift once you switched the mindset? And if it was, what did that feel like for you and your family?
So it was an immediate shift. However, my faith was still shaken. If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Because you had proven over a good 6, 7, 8 week time frame, you had kind of set a precedent for yourself.
Right.
So you felt the shift,
right.
but also had all this stuff to look back on. So how'd you kick that?
So I kept plugging in. I kept plugging in and surrounding myself with people, like-minded people, and or people that I wanted to, that I saw that was further ahead in the business and more successful than I was. So I would reach out and I would talk to them, and the motivation and the support that they gave me was so overwhelming that I had to take another look at myself. Yeah. After I looked at myself for having the faith, I said, okay, well, if these mentors and partners have all the faith in the world for me, why can I not have that as well? And so then I started saying, okay, again, I can do this. I'm going to do this. We're going to make this happen. And I start making small incremental goals. And it starts changing in August. That's when it started switching in August for me. And at that point, I had my biggest month.
Yeah? How many families did you help in August?
45 families.
What was your highest before that?
15 in July.
I love it. Dude, that's incredible. Yeah. And that just goes to show because it's a lot of work to change your mindset.
Yes.
Most of us are born with and raised in it, and it's kind of just embedded in the culture. That's just kind of the default.
Right.
It's a lot of work to switch that. The older you are, the harder it is to switch it.
Yeah.
More success you've seen, the more stuff you've been through, the harder it is to switch it. You put in the work, you did, you saw the results, and then for that pretty much last half or last third of 2023, it was nothing but up for you. And I've loved watching every second of it because you put in the work, you stuck with it where most people would have quit, put in the work, and now you're reaping the benefits, and we're only getting started. Yeah, and that's the crazy part. Talk to me a little bit about the branding because you're growing a business.
Yes.
Why grow a business? And then we'll talk a little bit about where you kind of got the inspiration behind the name. But why did you decide, okay, not only do I want to sell like I've been doing for a decade, not only do I want to sell and make more money than I used to make, and have more freedom and flexibility than I used to have once you get good at it, right? But you decided to kind of copy paste what Greg and Andrew are doing as well, and what a lot of us are trying to do here. Why?
So that's a good question. Originally, I wasn't going to build a business. I was just going to say I'm in it for me. Yeah. But I remember you guys saying that this business has changed so many lives, and it's changing my life. Yeah. So who would I be if I kept that to myself and not share that to other people? Yeah. And so in doing so, I said, okay, I'm going to start recruiting because I'm not the only person who is complacent and comfortable in their life, want more, but don't know how to get to there. Yeah. So when that happened, I decided that, okay, I'm going to start sharing as many people as I can. I'm going to start talking and reaching out to many people as I can and see who would be willing to, who wants to change their life. I had somebody tell me, you will give 100% to working for someone, but you won't give yourself that same amount of time or even more for your own self.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. That's where most of us were.
And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, wait, I gave my all for 10 years at this business. Sweat, tears, sacrifice, missed games, everything to be where I'm at. I can still surely put it in this business and see how prosperous and how much this will grow and how much we can impact our city, people's lives, change it, and it be beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, that's amazing. Talk to me a little bit about Lasting Legacy. What does that mean to you? How'd you come up with the name? Because I feel like what you choose to name your group, to name your business, kind of embodies who you are and what this business means to you.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that as we wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. So originally, it was going to be generational wealth.
Okay.
And my wife told me no. She said, you need something more meaningful.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So when we went with Lasting Legacy, me and Greg went through the motions and we were looking as far as Lasting Legacy. And I started asking myself, what does that mean? And when I started thinking about Lasting Legacy, is kind of self-explanatory as far as leaving a legacy that's lasting for your family. That's one thing that my mom and dad didn't do for us, unfortunately, because they wasn't taught.
Yeah.
And so I want to try to change and help leave a lasting legacy for every family moving forward.
That's huge.
Because I know what it's like not to.
Yeah. It's basically changing the family tree permanently.
Absolutely.
Not just through wealth, but through principles, values, that mindset. Imagine what a kid can do if they overcome that victim mindset before they graduate high school. And what that could look like, how many years they could save
Absolutely.
off their life of that victim mindset and where that puts you.
Yes.
And who that attracts you to, right? For finding a mate.
Absolutely.
And how you raise the kids and how incredible that is. So I love that so much. I appreciate you sharing. Let's wrap up with putting you on the spot here for some goals, because we're in January of 2024, so it's going to be a big year.
Yeah.
And I know you have some steep goals. Yeah. So let's talk about 2 goals. How many families are you personally going to help this year? And how many families is Lasting Legacy going to help this year?
Good. Huge.
Yeah.
So my goal personally, I want to be able to help 400 families minimum within 9 months.
Okay.
That's a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So October 1st, we've helped 400 families.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Love it.
And Lasting Legacy, we want to be able to, on average, potentially help 100 families a month.
Okay. So end of the year, Christmas time rolls around. Lasting Legacy is helping 100 families be protected every month.
Yes.
Not just from you, but from all the people that you've trained and helped and mentored along the way.
Absolutely.
Love it, man.
Yes.
Love it. Let's give a parting shout. Let's speak to the person that's watching this. Maybe they know you, maybe they don't. And they're where you were. Skeptical, unsure of themselves, unsure if this can work for them. They're like, okay, Glenn, it works for you, work for Matt, work for all these people. I'm not sure if it can work for me. Give a parting shout, a parting thought for that person and why they should consider talking to you and working with us here to help a lot of families.
Got you. So if you're in that situation to where you feel like you're unable to make that step, or you have cement feet is what I call it, jump off. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to want to do better for yourself. Here at Lasting Legacy, we're here to support you. We're here to help you. We're here to help you change your life and your family's life, and to be an impact into your community as well. So I would encourage you, and I would actually challenge you to take that leap of faith and jump off. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Growth happens when you're uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Love it, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for being here and for sharing so much about yourself and your passions and your goals. I'm really excited for what the future holds. We're just getting started, and with this new mindset of yours, sky's the limit, and I'm excited to test that limit.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us here for another episode of the RoadMap podcast. Hope you learned something and were inspired today by Glenn and his story and his passion. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. That's a wrap.
You good?
That's it, bro.
All right. That was huge, man.